Dan Bongino joins us right now, former Secret Service guy, host of the Dan Bongino Show, and an NRA contributor as well. Dan, so this guy was stopped near the White House by the Secret Service a while back. His guns were confiscated by the police ultimately. So I guess ultimately criminals just don't follow gun laws, do they?
No, that's only shocking to the liberals watching, by the way, and nobody else. But yeah, the Secret Service has to interview anyone they perceive to be a threat. As long as it's, they're able to carry it out, knowingly and willingly, they can prosecute. It looks like they didn't prosecute in this case. But Steve, this is important. They grade all their threat cases class 1, class 2, and class 3, with class 3 being the most dangerous people out there. I bet that classification system obviously is going to change after this tragedy this weekend.
Dan, it's kind of interesting. I understand that a guy like you with extensive training as a cop and Secret Service would react like that. How does a civilian react like that? Where does that come from?
A whole lot of heart, a whole lot of guts. I mean, I want to give a big hearty pat on the back to that gentleman. Think about it, right? You're watching this happen right there, and I bet he wished he had a firearm himself, but he didn't, and he still goes after the guy. I mean, God bless you. What guts, what nerve, what a steel spine this gentleman had to do that.
That's right. The guy said, and there's the picture of James Shaw Jr. He said that if the guy was going to kill him, he was going to make him work for it. And after he took that picture, he was in the hospital, and then he went home, he changed clothes, and then went to church with his family.
Yeah.
To pray.
He's a hero.
God bless this patriot.
All right, let's talk about the battle of the Intel chairs. You have the House Intel Committee. Everyone knows Devin Nunes is a Republican. He is the chairman. And then you have Adam Schiff. They're always going back and forth. And over the weekend, back and forth on the intel that led to the Russia investigation. Here is the House Intel chairman, Devin Nunes, talking. This is his side of the story. Listen to this.
It took us a long time to actually get this, what's called the electronic communication. As we know it now, what that is it's the original intelligence, the original reasons that the counterintelligence investigation was started. Now, this is really important to us because a counterintelligence investigation uses the tools of our intelligence services that are not supposed to be used on American citizens. We've long wanted to know, well, what intelligence did you have that actually led to this investigation? What we found now, after the investigators had reviewed it, is that, in fact, there was no intelligence.
That is a bombshell. Dan, there was no intelligence. It was just, and so that makes it look more and more politically motivated than ever before.
Steve, I was salivating to get on the air to talk about this at 6:30 in the morning. Guys, if you do anything, although the viewers out there, today, go and watch that Maria Bartiromo interview. Watch it. It's about 10 minutes and 30 seconds long. I've watched it now 4 times. There's not one, not two. There's about 5 or 6 bombshells from Devin Nunes in there. One of them you just played. Think about what he just said. Process this, ladies and gentlemen. Horse blinders on. He just said that the most destructive counterintelligence spying operation in modern U.S. history against a presidential candidate and potentially a sitting president was conducted with, look at this, visuals here, 0 evidence. 0. How is this story? That interview should be plastered on the front page of every newspaper in America this morning. And what is Adam Schiff, one of the most destructive, corrosive figures in American politics, say? By the way, constitutional republics fall because of people like Adam Schiff. Instead of him saying, listen, I don't like Donald Trump's politics, but this guy's is really serious, and we need to look into it. What does he do? He attacks Nunes again.
And
this guy's unbelievable.
Here's a statement from Schiff. The majority seems to believe that if it can discredit the initiation of the investigation by attacking the FBI Justice Department, it can get the public to ignore the growing body of evidence of illicit contacts between the Trump campaign and the Russians. This approach is as disingenuous as it is destructive to our institutions. Doubling down.
But Brian, this guy is a police state tyrant. Bottom line, the investigation discredited itself. They just produced the EC, the electronic document, communications document, which describes how it started. This is an FBI document. Think about what Nunes said. There is no intel in there.
Right.
I mean, do you believe this? This is a major league bombshell.
And then when you couple that with the fact that James Comey, you know, he leaked the confidential or top secret stuff to his pal so that it would wind up in the New York Times to get a special counsel, it looks like there was animus at the highest levels of our federal government to try to destroy Donald Trump.
Steve, you just brought up a great point. He leaked information when he could hurt Trump to his buddy, but then he hid the investigation from Congress for 8 months when he was supposed to be briefing them quarterly on it. He hid it. He's on tape acknowledging they hid it from Congress. This is unbelievable. That interview is a must-see.
Right. And a side note, Papadopoulos has told friends that when he was talking to that professor, Mifsud, he said, I was talking about the 30,000 that were deleted off her server. There's no collusion. It was a casual conversation. And Vasilyevskaya, who did the interview who went up to Trump Tower famously and talked to Don Jr. and Kushner and others, says he goes, nobody from the Mueller campaign has even talked to me. He goes, I'm willing to talk to them. How could you do an investigation without even talking to me? And they are,
Well,
and
Brian,
they haven't.
Brian, the Trump team was set up. It is obvious. Everybody who contacted the Trump team has a connection to Fusion GPS or the Clintons. Everyone. This was a setup. It's obvious if you look at the facts here. I was a former criminal investigator. Look at the facts. This is unbelievably disturbing stuff.
And Dan Bongino has been saying the president was framed from the get-go. Dan, thank you very much for joining us today from Palm City down in Florida.